Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Joe. Hey, what's up, guys? Jo Madden here. It's time for a Pocket with Joe over here on YouTube. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Thursday. Here we got a loaded day out there on the ice. We have 12 games on the ice today. We're going to go over probably 8 of them. I'm going to give you a Pocket Cup of Joe for the last 4 on deck because I just don't have all of my bets completely solidified and where I'm going to go with those games. So much going on. You know, we got Thursday night football. We have college football. We've got everything. NBA. There's just a ton on deck today. And with a 12-game slate, I got 8 games for you. So stay tuned for the Pocket Cup of Joe. But great to have all of you guys here. I am here. So let's jump into it. We did get Edmonton and the Capitals yesterday with that plus money to the over. That was a great one. If you didn't see the reel, that was my best bet. I always try to make a reel from the show of my best bets out there on the board as well. So stay tuned for those, you guys. But let's jump into today's slate. It kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you guys are watching anywhere else, come on over here to YouTube so that you can interact with the show. Drop those questions, drop those comments below. We'll try to get to all of them. The first game on deck is the New York Islanders taking on the Detroit Red Wings. I will give you the odds over on a FanDuel, but do shop those lines over at Odds Logic. Make sure you get the best of those lines. If you're looking for that free code, it will be dropped below this video. The Isles rolling in at plus 110 on the money line. The Red Wings minus 132. Total of 6.5. I do think we look at this game and Sorokin can absolutely win this game for the New York Islanders. He has an .898 goal against average, and I know he's had those struggles. He's got an .898 save percentage. Let's say that again, and 2.92 goals against average. And I know he's had some struggles on the season, but I do believe in him here versus the Detroit Red Wings. Now, we believe in the Detroit Red Wings offense, right? This is an offense that's averaging over 3 goals per game, 29.9 shots on goal. But when we look at Sorokin in his career versus the Red Wings, he has had some strength out there. Now, he's taken an L in the last 3. He wasn't part of that last game out on October 23rd when the Isles did win 7-2. But last season, the last game that he faced them back in 2024, he only allowed 2 goals on 31 shots. And I'm expecting a performance like that overall in his career, a .911 save percentage versus the Red Wings. Now, he's got stronger numbers than John Gibson coming in between the pipes here for the Red Wings, who has an .875 save percentage. The one thing the Red Wings do nicely is they do lock down their opponent's ability to get those shots on goal, holding opponents to 26.4 shots. So they're going to give Gibson the support, but I do think this is one where the Isles finish this road trip strong. Now, this is the last road game, like I said, of 7. They've had 3 games go to overtime, and they've been able to win all 3 of those games. This has been a long road trip, so I'm looking to fade them in their next game. Their first game home, I definitely think, is a fade spot, but they are off the win versus the Dallas Stars on Tuesday, 3-2. So when we look here at the Red Wings, they have Columbus on deck on Saturday. They're strong at home, 7-3-1, but I do think the Isles find a way and get it done in this game. Next on deck is the Washington Capitals taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Now, the Washington Capitals getting that nice win over the Edmonton Oilers last night. They're rolling in here at plus 114 on the money line, minus 137 for the Montreal Canadiens, who have been struggling as of late. They've lost their last 3-4 games. They're looking to get back on track and bounce back big in this one. This total sitting at 6.5. It's minus 132 to the under. I'm not going to touch the total in this one. I will look at Montreal's team total. Montreal has a team total of 3.5. It's plus 120 to the over, and that's exactly where I'm going to go. Montreal has had this game circled. Remember, the Washington Capitals did give Montreal the boot in the first round of the playoffs last season. So Montreal's ready and hungry to take on the Washington Capitals, get a little bit of revenge in this. Sam Montague versus Charlie Lindgren is your goaltending matchup. So the Capitals, with the win last night, now have won 2 in a row. It was an insane game versus Edmonton. I hope you guys rode with the over 6.5. We had 5 goals in the first period alone. It was a 3-2 first period for the Washington Capitals. So Tom Wilson, of those 7 goals, 2 were empty netters by Tom Wilson at the end of that game. It's a one-off road game here for the Caps too. Lots of travel after having Edmonton in Washington last night, now to travel to Montreal. So I think this is a great spot for Montreal to get things right. They've lost their last 4. They lost Monday in a shootout to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've got the Leafs on deck on Saturday, which is a strong opponent that they'll be looking for. Original 6 meetup, but I just think this Montreal team can get 4 goals here, especially with Charlie Lindgren between the pipes, who has an .893 save percentage and a 3.17 goals against average. So give me the Montreal Canadiens team total over 3.5. Next, we have the New Jersey Devils taking on the Florida Panthers. The New Jersey Devils, don't forget, they are without Jack Hughes, taking on the Florida Panthers, who just been relying on Brad Marchand to come out and get things done. Now, Florida is a -154 favorite. You could drop that price if you bet them in 60 minutes in the regulation, and I don't blame you for doing so, or you could just look at them here on the puck line, and that's exactly where I'm going to go. I do think the Florida Panthers win this by 2 goals, under or laying 1.5 at +158. Now, because of the empty netter, I can't take the under 5.5, but you could see this being a 3-1. I think maybe it's a more like a 4-2 style win, or 4-1. So I'll stay off of that total because of that. But I do think either way, Florida comes out and they cover that puck line 1.5. It's coming in at +158, you guys. Bobrovsky between the pipes for the Florida Panthers has a .883 save percentage, so not the best, but he is getting the support. We're seeing the Florida Panthers really lock down on the defensive side of things, holding opponents to 24.7 shots on goal per game. Second best overall in the league. And when we look here at the New Jersey Devils, Jake Allen between the pipes, he has a .916 save percentage, a 2.24 goals against average. And yes, solid numbers out there, but I just don't trust Jake Allen against especially Brad Marchand coming out here and the rest of the Florida Panthers. They do have depth. They're still dealing with some injuries, but they should be able to get things done. They're off a victory on Monday versus the Vancouver Canucks. That was an 8-5 game on Monday. It was crazy to see how much they brought to the table. Now, their power play converting at 21.1%. We do have a stronger power play and a stronger kill here for the New Jersey Devils. So Florida's going to have to be careful with how they play this one out. But the Devils coming off that loss to Tampa 5-1, I just can't trust them on Tuesday. Yeah, you got to look at Brad to light the lamp. He has been solid versus Jake Allen, Vegas Vixen. So great way to go looking at Brad Marchand. He's first on the team with goals with 13, 23 total points for the Florida Panthers. He's going to bring it in this game. So Brad for the anytime goal. Now we move on to the St. Louis Blues taking on the Flyers. Both of these teams needed a win. We're seeing a St. Louis Blues team that has lost their last 3 games. Overtime loss versus the Maple Leafs on Tuesday. And they couldn't get past the Maple Leafs on Tuesday with so many players out. Well, how are they going to get past the Philadelphia Flyers and Dan Vladar? Now, the Flyers are coming off a disappointing loss versus the Dallas Stars 5-1 Saturday night. They are strong at suppressing the passes out here and the shots by their opponents. They're holding opponents to only 25.2 shots on goal per game, which is 4th best in the league. Their kill is outstanding. 87.5% of their opponents' power plays are able to kill off, which is 3rd best in the league. When you look here, weak kill for the St. Louis Blues, their power play is solid though, 23.5%. But I look at the St. Louis Blues and it's like, okay, if Robert Thomas is healthy, this team has the abilities, the most consistent player out there for them. But I do think the Flyers will bring it tonight. Dan Vladar between the pipes. The Flyers are a -122 favorite. You could also look at them in red, get some plus money there. Or you could look here at the St. Louis Blues team total. I like their team total under 2.5 goals, coming in at plus 108. Now, for the Flyers, I'm going to look at Owen Tippett for the anytime goal. He's coming in right around that plus 250 for his goal. He comes into this one with 9 points in 10 games versus the St. Louis Blues, and I think he gets us that goal tonight. If you're looking at a player prop for the St. Louis Blues, like I said, Robert Thomas most consistent. He has 3 points in the last 3 games. So you could look at Robert Thomas, especially on the power play. I would look at his power play ability here. When we look at the power play for the St. Louis Blues, it is 23.5. Like I said, great kill here for the Flyers, but Dan Vladar has been so solid between the pipes that I do think if they're scoring on that power play. The last time these teams met up, it was under a week ago, you guys. We did see on November 14th, the Flyers get that 6-5 win. I think in this one, they lock down on the defensive side, and Dan Vladar stands tall between the pipes. Next, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Toronto still dealing with those injuries, is off that win versus St. Louis, like we're talking about, OT win on Tuesday night. The Columbus Blue Jackets roll in here as a slight favorite on the road. They did win on October 29th, a 6-3. It's hard to back a Toronto team that's dealing with so many players out with injuries, especially when this team has failed to cover the puck line in their last 6 off of overtime. I'm going to look at this game to go over the total. So looking at this one, we are seeing the total coming in at 6.5 plus 104 to the over. I just think the goals are coming. Jet Greaves between the pipes here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Joseph Woll coming in for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs games have been trending to that over. 8 of the last 10 going over that total. And I can see this being one where they trade back and forth those goals. Now, both teams averaging right around 3 goals per game, 3.5 goals per game for Toronto, 2.95 goals per game for Columbus. And Columbus gets all those shots. They're averaging 30.6 shots on goal. We have similar kills here, 72%. 76% for the Leafs. So it's going to be an interesting one. Both of the defenses do have those defensive lapses, and I'm expecting the offenses to be able to capitalize on those mistakes out there. Next, we have the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, in this one, you guys, the Edmonton Oilers entering as the dog on their second night of a back-to-back of that loss to the Washington Capitals last night. The Tampa Bay Lightning are built on a strong offense. We know that, but defensively, they're able to get things done as well. And I do think you see them really hammer Calvin Pickard between the pipes tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. They're minus 166 on the money line. So too juicy on the money line. If you want to do the puck line, I don't blame you, laying 1.5 at plus 142. I'll look here at the Tampa Bay Lightning's team total. I do think they get over 3.5 goals. You're getting that at plus 105. So I'll take the Tampa Bay Lightning's team total over. We're looking at them coming off the win versus the New Jersey Devils 5-1. And I could see it being very similar. If you want to alt over 4.5 goals, I can get behind that as well. You look at Edmonton, they've lost their last 2. Calvin Pickard has a 4.18 goals against average and a .830 save percentage. It's not pretty. The Tampa Bay Lightning are averaging 3.11 goals per game. 26.8 shots on goal. Their power play not converting at the highest level. If they do allow the Edmonton Oilers to get on that power play, their kill has been solid at 85.7. But if we're just looking at Tampa's team total over the 3.5, we can take Edmonton's side of things out of the equation. Could they lose this one 5-4 with Edmonton getting the win? Yeah, absolutely. But I do trust him, Andre Vasilevsky, more. I would expect this to be a 5-2 style win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah, Edmonton are absolutely brutal on this road trip out here. They're at the Panthers on Saturday, you guys, and that's something else to note for the Edmonton Oilers. Being at the Panthers on Saturday, you know, they absolutely have that game circled and circled and circled and circled, with the Florida Panthers being the team that they cannot beat in the Stanley Cup Finals. So look at this one for the Edmonton Oilers to struggle again. They've lost their last 6 on the second night of a back-to-back, but they have been able to cover the puck line on that second night of back-to-back in their last 5. We'll see what they have here. Another thing to look at is Leon Draisaitl on the second night back-to-back has been strong. He's been able to score in the last 7 games playing on that second night of a back-to-back. It motivates him out there. But I would look at Braden Point for the Tampa Bay Lightning to come out nice and strong and get us that goal tonight. When we move on to the Seattle Kraken taking on the Chicago Blackhawks, Connor Bedard, no denying what he's able to do out there. He got his second hat trick versus Calgary in that last game in the last 3 weeks. So he's rolling strong. 22 points in the last 11 games. The first night of a back-to-back here for Chicago. They will be taking on the Ottawa Senators tomorrow. They've won their last two. Nice big win over the Flames in their last game out. Spencer Knight between the pipes here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now they're taking on the Seattle Kraken with Joey Daccord out there. This one has a total of 5.5, minus 118 to the over. You got Chicago rolling in at minus 113. I do think Chicago's the right side of things in this one. I don't think we'll get enough offense out of the Seattle Kraken. This offense has been pretty flat. They're off that loss to the Red Wings 4-2. On the road, they're at the Penguins on Saturday, then the Isles on Sunday. So they do have a weekend back-to-back on deck. I'll roll with the Chicago Blackhawks to get the win at home. Next, the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Utah Mammoth. Now, Vegas is a better team. There's no denying what Vegas is able to do out there. They're off the win versus the New York Rangers. You know I had the Rangers on Tuesday. Expecting the Rangers because they've been so good out there on the road. But Vegas won that one 3-2. Now, they do have the Ducks on Saturday, Utah again on Monday. They'll be back here. They're not going back home for that one. We're looking at a Utah team that has lost their last three. Overtime loss to the Sharks on Tuesday, and they've lost their last 3 games off of that overtime. I do think what we see out of Utah is they get up fast in the first period, come out, win the first period, cover that puck line, laying a half a goal in the first period, and then we see Vegas get back into things. I'm going to take Utah first period in this one. I'm also going to look at Logan Cooley. He scored a goal in each of the last 4 versus the Vegas Golden Knights. I will take him for the anytime goal here as well. But then I'd look at Mitch Marner to come out nice and strong versus Utah and get them back in this game for the Vegas Golden Knights. We then have the New York Rangers taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now, looking at this one, we have a total of 6.5. We've got the Rangers rolling in at plus 168 on the money line. And when you look at the New York Rangers on the road this season, they've gone 9-2-1 on the road. Now, Colorado, fantastic at home, 7-0-2 at home this season. And I do think it is worth a shot here on this New York Rangers team to stay competitive in this one. I know it's hard to trust the New York Rangers, but their strength really has been out there on the road, and they're coming off that loss to Vegas in their last one. It will be Igor Shesterkin versus Scott Wedgwood, and I like the Rangers' ability to hit Scott Wedgwood in this game. So I'm going to roll with the New York Rangers at plus, what are they on the money line again? Plus 168. I also think the puck line, it's not a bad price, plus 1.5 at minus 144. But I think if the Rangers are gonna win this, or it's win or lose, I don't even want to play around with them plus the 1.5. I think if this one comes down to that, there'll be an empty netter and you won't hit that puck line. So I'd rather just take the opportunity on the money line coming into this game. So give me the New York Rangers here. Give me for those player points. I do think there's a couple of players that you can circle for those anytime goals to come out nice and strong. I'm going to look, let me just pull up the player props here. You know, Nathan McKinnon is a great player to look at for Colorado. He's plus 110. Not as much value as you'd like, but actually more value than I would have expected. You're going to get Panarin, though, and that's where I want to go, of the New York Rangers for an anytime goal coming in at plus 210. Martin Necas of Colorado, another nice look there. He's plus 170. And then Mika Zibanejad of the Rangers again. I'll take him at plus 250. I think Panarin and Zibanejad will be impactful in this game. Next, let's look at the LA Kings. They're taking on the San Jose Sharks. Talk about these young kids out there on the ice making a huge impact. Macklin Celebrini with the hat trick in his last game out, just playing lights out there for the San Jose Sharks. So the Sharks are a plus 140 underdog. We got minus 170 for the LA Kings, total of 5.5. With the way the Sharks play defense or lack of defense out there in the goaltending issues, I do think this one goes over the 5.5. But Forsberg between the pipes here for the LA Kings, you can see the Sharks being able to score on him. Now, I'm going to take the over 5.5, and I am leaning towards a sprinkle on the Sharks on the money line. It just looks too good to be true, you guys. I'm going to look at Andrei Kuzmenko here, who scored a goal in 4 of the past 5 road games versus the Sharks for his anytime goal for the LA Kings. That's up plus 480. Now, when we look at Macklin Celebrini for the anytime goal, we've still got plus money at plus 140. I think he continues to roll nice and strong in this game and can get things done. Now, one player that I do think is sneaky tonight for the anytime goal for the LA Kings, other than Kuzmenko, would be Corey Perry. I think Corey Perry steps up in this one. He's plus 290 for the anytime goal. Again, higher scoring game in this one, going over the 5.5. So that's where I'm going to go with that one, you guys. We're going to next move on to the Ottawa Senators versus the Anaheim Ducks. And I'm going to take the Ducks. Again, in this one, they've won their last 6 first periods at home and their last 6 home games. And I think they have every ability to get things done. Peter Mrazek between the pipes tonight versus the Ottawa Senators. So I'll mark in there for Ottawa. It's just plus money on a Ducks team that's 7-3 in their last 10, 7-1 at home on the season. And I just think Leo Carlson, Troy Terry, they're playing at such a level right now at the speed that they're playing at. You've got to think they can come out and get the win. Now, I do think Ottawa is able to answer back in this one. We know what they bring to the table. Offensively, they're able to close things out, but the Ducks plus 106 on the money line, I love. And then I'll also look at the over 6.5 at plus 102. 4-3 style win here, hopefully for the Anaheim Ducks. The Dallas Stars taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Dallas rolling in here as the favorite on the road. We're seeing the Dallas Stars at minus 156. This has popped up about 10 points over the last hour. Now, Dallas is strong on the road, 6-1-2 on the road. Better than they are at home, 6-4-1. And when we look at Vancouver, they're better on the road. They are 3-5-1 at home. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, and I just can't get behind them. Lankinen between the pipes here, while Jake Ottinger will be coming out for the Dallas Stars. I do think the Stars get revenge here on Vancouver for the loss they took in their last game. If you aren't watching that last game out, they were on a streak. They'd won their last 5. Then in that game versus the Islanders, they got a goal taken back that would have tied up the game 3-3. Instead, the Isles did win that 3-2. So I think they take out that frustration here on the Vancouver Canucks and come in here and get the win. But again, they're minus 156 on that money line, minus 1.5 on the puck line at plus 154. A lot to ask a road team there. I would probably just look at the regulation bet. I don't see this one going into OT. And you guys, we actually talked all 12 of the games. I didn't expect to talk all 12 of the games today. That is for sure. But those are the bets. That's where I'm going with all of them. I will still do my Puck at Cup of Joe and put that out for you guys for my best bets out there. And excuse the lighting, you guys. I forgot to close the blinds today. Definitely a little bright here. But yeah, rewind. I'm also going to put the bookmarks up as soon as we are done here. I did drop my pen while we were talking. So, I'll get those bookmarks up. Just give me a couple minutes after we finish here. Martin Necas has scored 4 goals in the last 3 and 8 of the last 9 at home. Yeah, Martin Necas has been nice and solid out there and definitely someone you want to back tonight. So let's get into the recap, you guys. We're at the 23-minute mark. We flew by these games today. So let's dive into it. The New York Islanders versus the Detroit Red Wings. Give me Sorokin over his safe shots on goal, 29.5. I would take it up to, we still don't have those numbers, but I'm expecting him 27, 28. If it goes to 29, take him over the 29.5 for the New York Islanders versus the Detroit Red Wings. Give me the Isles on the money line. I think they're barking tonight. They're going to finish this road trip strong. Give me Matthew Barzal of the Islanders for a goal at plus 250. On the other side, you can look at Patrick Kane for the goal at plus 280. He scored in 3 of the last 4 games against the Islanders. The Washington Capitals versus Montreal Canadiens. Give me Montreal over 3.5 goals in this game at plus 120. Charlie Lindgren between the pipes for the Washington Capitals, and the Capitals off the game last night versus the Edmonton Oilers. Tired legs will result in Montreal getting back in the win column. The New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers. Give me the Panthers to win this and cover the puck line. I'll lay the 1.5 and get that great plus money with the Florida Panthers in this game. The New Jersey Devils did win the last matchup 3-1, but I do think Florida gets revenge in this one. I'm going to look at Brad to continue to roll hot. Give me Brad Marchand to be able to convert out there to net a set goal. The St. Louis Blues and the Philadelphia Flyers. Give me the Blues team total under 2.5 at plus 108. Give me the Flyers at minus 120 on that money line to get the win. Give me Owen Tippett for the anytime goal at plus 250 for the Flyers. Owen Tippett has 9 points in 10 games versus the St. Louis Blues. On the other side for the St. Louis Blues, you can look at Robert Thomas for the point. He's got a point in the last 3. The Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs still dealing with so many injuries. Just give me the over 6.5 in this one. I do think both of these teams can put up the goals. The Leafs trending towards that over as well. Both teams to score in the first period, and the over 1.5 I definitely think is another solid way to attack this one. The Edmonton Oilers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Give me Tampa's team total over 3.5 goals. With Edmonton on the second night of a back-to-back with Calvin Pickard between the pipes, I would be okay firing it up to Tampa over 4.5 goals for great plus money. I just don't trust Edmonton tonight. The Seattle Kraken versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me the Blackhawks to get the win here at home. Short price here on the money line. Give me Connor Bedard to continue to roll hot. 2+ points for Connor Bedard. I do think Chicago answers the Seattle Kraken in this one and gets a couple goals. Connor Bedard gets a couple goals. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Utah Mammoth. Give me Vegas for the win, but Utah to start this one off nice and hot. Give me Utah first period. The money line here, it's a short price. And also give me Logan Cooley for the anytime goal. That's coming in at plus 230. The New York Rangers and the Colorado Avalanche. I'm going to take a shot on the Rangers. Solid team out there on the road, and I do think they can get it done. Now, it's going to be a hard battle versus Colorado, and if they're winning this, I do think they go into a back-and-forth battle here with the Colorado Avalanche. So if you want to just look at the over 6.5 in this game, I think it's a solid way to go. The LA Kings versus the San Jose Sharks. I do think this one is going to be an over game. I think the Sharks push the Kings again into a high-scoring battle, even though the Kings want to keep it lower. But Forsberg between the pipes tonight. I'll take the San Jose Sharks for a sprinkle on that money line at home. I'm going to look here at Macklin Celebrini to continue to roll hot. On the other side, Kuzmenko for the LA Kings to net us a goal. He's almost plus 500 for the goal. He's got a goal in 4 of the last 5 versus the San Jose Sharks. The Ottawa Senators versus the Anaheim Ducks. Give me the Ducks to continue to quack. Getting disrespected out there. They have won their last 6 home games in the last 6 first periods at home. I'd look at them in both situations. Troy Terry, Leo Carlson for those goals. The Dallas Stars versus Vancouver Canucks. Give me Dallas in this one. They are strong out there on the road. I don't trust Vancouver at home. The problem is with Dallas, they're too juicy on the money line. I take it down to regulation. I don't think Vancouver will push this to OT. But those are the games today, you guys. Vegas Vitson playing Jamie Benn back in his hometown. Great call, Vegas Vitson, on Jamie Benn being back there. Something I definitely did miss as he goes back to Vancouver. So nice call on that one. But you guys, I wish you all the best on all of your bets. Apologies for this brightness. It's starting to get to me. I can hardly see you guys here looking at my camera. It is blinding me, talking about needing sunglasses. But that means the snow has stopped flying here. And it is a beautiful sunny afternoon here in YYC. So you guys, until next time, stay hot. Let's make some freaking money. I'm going to shut those blinds so that I can continue to get stuff done here today. But until next time, stay hot. Let's make some freaking money. I'll see you tomorrow.